Back in the game.
What's up?
You know what? I don't know if anybody doesn't know who you are, but I want to tell them because you're somebody that I have a great deal of admiration and respect for. And when you reach out to me and said, hey, can you give me some quality information on how to get something done? It made me feel good because I've shared a lot of what you do with a lot of people that I love, because sometimes, me telling them one thing and somebody outside who they are telling them the same thing is different.
Right.
This is Jay from SBK Lifestyle. And hold on. Picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. I want everybody, because I'm going to put this in the comments. SBK Lifestyle, bodybuilder, that's not the important part. The bodybuilder part is not the important part. But you do this all the time. You show them where you came from. Hold on, let me blow that picture. You show them where you came from to get where you are. And the level of mental determination it takes to do that, man, that's why you've gained such a huge amount of respect.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Where were you on that one picture? How big were you in that picture?
That was 375 pounds. My highest was 434, but I would not ever be caught in a camera shot. So I just didn't take pictures like back then. But right there, that was 375. And on the right, I think that was probably around 230-ish, maybe 235. So.
Whew. That's, I want everybody right now. And matter of fact, let me put this in the comments, because the good thing about YouTube is everybody can be friends. I want you to go to, hold on a second. I want everybody to go, and I want everybody to subscribe to his channel as well. Let's see. There we go. Boom. So we came here for a pretty simple question with a long answer.
Yeah.
How to move to Brazil. And if I had $1, if I had a quarter for as many times I've been asked that question over the past couple of months, man, I'd be rich 10 times over.
Right.
I'd be rich 10 times over. How you doing, brother Sid? Sid, do me a favor. Make sure you go on my Facebook where I just posted this and share it. That's a big deal. Joey, what's up, brother? Make sure you go on my Facebook and share this, please. Let's get some more people in here, because this is something I've been doing personally, and I got to the point where I just needed, quite frankly, I just needed to do this publicly so that everybody can get the information.
Yeah, a lot of people want to know. A lot of people are curious, and with Brazil, it's not a lot of information out there. Like you got a lot of information on the DR, on Colombia, Thailand, and Southeast Asian countries, but it seems like Brazil is just it's a need in YouTube for people who are maybe looking to move there or just visit. So I think this will help. This video will help.
Well, for me, I've been in Brazil 5 years. I'm a permanent resident. I have a green card and all that good stuff. But that's down the road. I wanted to lay out all the things that are necessary to get from America to Brazil as smoothly as possible by doing as much as you can early. By getting as many things done ahead of time. I wrote out about 20 bullet points because I'm kind of long-winded, but I want to make sure I give everybody as much information as I can. I want everybody to put questions in the comments. If I go over something that you want me to go back to, say, hey, slow down, and make me go back.
Okay.
Because this is important. And the first couple of things that I don't want to insult your intelligence. I don't want to go over things and make you feel like, well, of course that. But there might be somebody listening who doesn't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big deal. I don't want anybody to not get the information.
Right.
The first thing is how recent is your passport?
How what?
How recent is your passport?
Oh, I got my passport, I think, in like 2012, so it expires in 2022. Okay. One of the things I make sure is that, especially traveling, a lot of places won't even take you unless you have 6 months extension on your passport. So If it was like within a year, I would renew. Matter of fact, when it gets to within a year, I will renew it. So
that's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. You made it. You made it a priority to make sure that it's not going to be one of those, oh my goodness. Now, I'll tell people a secret that a lot of people don't know, that when you are outside the country and you get your passport re-upped, that they do it faster than if you're in the United States. You get prioritized.
would you have to go to embassy or U.S. consulate in
Yes.
Brazil? Okay.
Yes, you would go to the one where I am in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is exactly what you do. You have to make an appointment online, okay? And you go down. It takes a day. You go down, apply, leave your passport there, come back, lickety split. It's a very simple, streamlined process. I've never had a problem.
What's the price for people who are curious? Because I know if you go to the post office for a first-time person in the U.S., it's $110 to get a passport, and I think $40 for a photo or something. So it ends up being like $140 for a passport in the U.S.
It's close. It's close to that. Let me double check, because if I'm not mistaken, the okay, here we go, and I'm gonna share this screen, because speaking of passports, one of the other things that we also want to do is I want everybody to make sure they get a passport card if possible.
Oh, see, that's new for me. Passport card. Oh, is that like the miniaturized version of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the passport card is something you can keep in your wallet. You don't want to walk around with your entire passport, but the passport card, you can just slide that in your wallet.
See, they said I was reading that you should make a photocopy of your passport and keep that instead of the real thing. But you're saying the passport card is better?
Yeah, much better. Now, here's where we got notary services, $50. Passport services, passbook book for an adult is $145. For a minor, it's $115. Renewal is $110. The card for an adult is $30. So spend the extra $30, people.
Right. Yeah.
Don't be tight. Spend the extra $30 because the passport card, you can just, I'm going to show you. This is the card. They're small, simple. You can get one when you get your passport. Keep the card in your wallet. It's legal identification. I can't stress enough how much it's definitely worth it to get the card as well.
Okay.
That's critically important. So now that we know you've got a passport that's good for at least a year, you can also go in and get the card. Something else I'll tell people that is critically important, not just for Brazil, but wherever you go, once you've decided, hey, I'm going to go to this country, start learning the language.
Yeah, definitely.
Start learning the language. And everybody on my Patreon, I gave a present to, including you, whether you get it from me or somebody else. And I always tell people, start with a good language program. For instance, I think Pimsleur is awesome.
I've heard a lot of people say that about that particular program.
Yeah, I think Pimsleur is awesome. And I'm gonna put 2 links here. One is gonna be on, let's see, Pimsleur Portuguese. I gave everybody who's on my Patreon, I gave them access to my Pimsleur just because I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put that here. Let's see. And let's see. Oh, we got a couple comments. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The exchange rate. Have you seen today's exchange rate?
I looked at it yesterday. I posted on my Instagram. I think it was like 5.3 to 1 or something like that. It's going crazy.
Man.
Going crazy.
Man, it's insane. It's insane. It really is one of those. It's not fair, the way the world is working right now. But if you can take advantage of it, as a matter of fact, let's find out what the exchange rate is. See, FD.
And while you're looking for that, a lot of people, there's some good exchange rate apps. I think I use Currency Converter. They're pretty good and they're always up to date. Because some apps, they don't refresh as often. Currency Converter refreshes like all the time. So I like that one.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, that's one of those, that level of exchange rate is obscene.
Yeah.
That's the way I put it. That level of exchange rate is absolutely obscene.
It makes the flight worth it, actually, when you think about it, because, you know, the flight to Brazil from the U.S. is higher than like to Colombia. But with that exchange rate, it's almost makes it worth it.
Well, yeah, it's almost like they're paying you to go.
Yeah.
Now, of course, exchange rates change every day, folks.
Yeah.
So don't believe that it's going to be that way forever. It's going to get better. We're saying if you're planning on coming in the next, reasonably close period of time, that's the way to do it. That's definitely the way to do it. What else do we have in the comment section? Oh, Owl from Owl's Odyssey said, get the big one, because the big passport, you get extra pages for people who do a lot of traveling. I'm on my 3rd passport.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. She also advocates Fluent. It's another language learning app. My whole thing is pick one and use it.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people.
A lot of Americans tend to think that the world should speak English, but it's just not how it works. Like, people have their own culture. Most people don't care about what's going on in the States anyway. So it would be good for you to try to make yourself a part of the culture and not expect people are going to cater to you, wherever you go.
Hey, listen, I've had people cry when they figure out that you can't leave America and expect people to speak English. That's just absurd.
Yeah.
How do you? Oh, Uncle Ladrunius, what's up? Do you know how to get a passport card if you already have a passport? I believe you should be able to go down and apply for one. I don't think you have to get it at the exact same time. You should be able to go. I would check at your local post office first, because that's where you can get all of your passport needs met. Go to your local post office and find out there, how do I apply for just the card? You should be able to get one. Do me a favor and let me know either way on that. Let me know whether or not that's a plausible thing. Okay, let's see. Get global entry. I don't know about global entry. I haven't used global entry, but Coach Joey Jones said that's a good idea. Let's see. And you know what? There's something else I'm going to show you guys when we go, and I'll bring that up later. That one is going to be language. The good thing about Pimsleur is they advertise you do it a half an hour a day. I don't. I do it a half an hour, then I do the same lesson again, and then in the evening I'll do another one. I can tell you it's very well recommended. I haven't had any problem with it, and it gets you speaking right away. I mean, immediately you start speaking.
Okay.
And the video where I talk about it, let's see. There's a video I started talking about all the different language apps and how to use them, and how the biggest problem people have is they'll start something and quit.
Yeah, yeah.
And say, oh, this doesn't work. Well, you're still on level 1.
Right.
I did something here called Hustling Portuguese. In Brazil, Hustling Portuguese backwards. That's definitely a video to check out. In Brazil, Hustling Portuguese backwards. Because it talks about what I had to learn in order to start to become more fluent in Portuguese. But the principle you can use all the time. The principle you can use without question or without hesitation in any language. What else do I have here on my list? On my magic list of things I want you to know. CPF number. A CPF number, a lot of people say it's the Brazilian equivalent to a social security number. It's not, but I understand why they think that way. It's an identification number that you need to do anything from, I'll give you the first example that people get of why they need a CPF number. You get off the airplane, you say, I'm going to buy a phone chip for this country. You go buy a phone chip for $10. It's got a little credit on it. You pop it in your phone, and it doesn't work because you have to register it to activate it. But here's the trick. To register it, you have to have a CPF number. CPF numbers are not hard to get. CPF numbers are not restricted. You can be a visitor who's only going to be here for a week and get a CPF number. You can be someone who's going to live here full time and get a CPF number. It's critically important that you get one, but instead of waiting until you get here, what I want to do is show you that you can get it, and I'm going to do two things. One, I did an article on it, actually. I did an article on it. And two, you can get a CPF online. A lot of people don't know that. You can actually go online, research how to get a CPF, and I'm going to put two links in because I don't want to be greedy about it. Let's see. CPF Cadastro. Here we go. And what I'll do, what I'm willing to do with anybody who needs me to, I'm going to give you a link to some place where I actually go through the entire process online of how to do that. Again, not complicated, but if you don't know how, you could end up here spending a half a day trying to figure out how to get your CPF number, because it's a two-stage process if you wait to get here. Stage one is you go to the post office, fill out some paperwork, fill out some information, take the paperwork to the government building where you sit in line again. And after you sit in line again there, they call you up to a desk to fill out, guess what, even more paperwork. And then you get your CPF number, and you've already burned, let's call it, you've probably burned close to 4 or 5 hours. Close to 4 or 5 hours gone.
Now let me ask, coming in there, say you're going to use, like, for example, T-Mobile, they do cover you internationally. They just slow you down. So they cover Brazil, or Google Fi as well. But say, for example, you're just coming in there and you're going to do Airbnb and you're not getting a phone chip, or you don't need the services like for utilities or anything. Is it absolutely necessary to get one?
I would always tell you yes, because you're going to go buy something or need something where they're going to need your national registration. They're going to need that information. Now, here's the thing. Let's say you do come in with a package on your phone that allows you to come to Brazil, use your internet, use your WhatsApp with no problem. That doesn't save you when somebody in Brazil needs to call you. What are you going to make them do? Call an American number and pay all those exorbitant charges?
Right, yeah. WhatsApp, I think they charge. Yeah. Or they charge the carrier.
Yeah. Whereas you could just get for almost nothing, a phone chip here. And by the way, the CPF, it's worth it to have because you never know when you're going to need it. And that's the trick. That's the trick to it. If you need it, you're going to wish you had it, because now you're stuck in a situation where, let's say someone like you decide, you know what, you say, what? I like it here. I'm going to post up here for 3 months, 6 months, forever. Well, you got to get one anyway.
Yeah, you're going to have
better to have it ahead of time. And I'll go through that with you.
How long does it last?
Forever.
Okay. So you don't have, it's not like a driver's license. You got to renew it every 2 years or something? Okay.
No, it's yours. Here we go. Watch this. Make sure you know your mother's real name. I've had people, I'll tell you a horror story about me. My mother's middle initial is L, but on one document that I had, her middle name was Lee. They would not let me register. The only thing I had that had my mother's full name written out, I had my original copy birth certificate. And that's on the list of things that I want you to get before you come in duplicate. There are people who are going to tell you what you don't need to tell him to go get all these documents in duplicate. The problem is, over my life of living here for years, I can tell you, I'd rather you come down here with everything scanned, right? Have everything scanned to your Google Drive and 2 copies of everything and not even need most of it. Then the day comes where they say, oh, you know what? We need a copy of your birth certificate for this office. And we need another copy to send to the federal government. And while we're figuring out your, doing your paperwork for you to live here indefinitely. You want to be able to have it.
Right. Okay.
You want to be able to have it. I mean, those kind of documents are invaluable. So I would say right now, go get your how would I put it? All your birth certificate. If your parents are, either one of them are dead, get their death certificate. Okay,
That's gonna be a challenge. Do you have to have a death certificate?
Here's the thing. You don't know, because we're still in a country where they ask for your parents' name on things.
Yeah.
Your mother's is probably going to be more important than your dad's, but I can tell you, if you can get it. Now, here's the thing. If you can't, I understand. Get it if you can. Don't let that stop you. Don't say I got everything but this. But if you can get birth certificate, 2 copies. Your parents' marriage certificate, 2 copies. Their divorce certificate, 2 copies. Your social security card. You'll need your original social security card, and they may be able to print, I forgot what it's called, but they can print something official with your social security number on it. Your driver's license, get that one. You know, have your driver's license. Any other document specific to you, get 2 and bring them with you. And before you come, go scan them. Ask one of your buddies who has an office, can I scan all these? Scan them, upload them to Google Drive.
Right.
Why? I hope one day we sit back laughing on the corner, drinking some freshly squeezed orange juice, and you're talking about how you didn't need all that stuff. But if the day comes when you need it, because bureaucracy is the same everywhere in the world.
Right. Slow and methodical.
Yep. And they don't care. They don't care. Like, I remember when I did a registration to get my green card, and I was waiting, I was checking the government website, and one of my buddies, he said, listen, man, you might just need to go down there and get another number at the federal building and just ask the lady at the window. I said, but the website said, he said, shut up. Just go do it. What did I have to do? Go down there, wait in line, go stand there. Hi, here's my ID, here's the receipt. Do you have my green card? And she's laughing, talking to one of her friends, because they're federal employees, and all over the world, her job is guaranteed for life. You would basically have to eat a child. And no, you could probably get away with that because the union would say you were under stress. They're not going to lose their job. So is she in a hurry? Nope. She goes in the back, laughing with her friends, other government workers, and I'm standing there trying to be polite and respectful.
Right.
Come back with an envelope, and she said, make sure your name is spelled right. I opened it. It could have been there for 4 months. Looking at the date.
Never got it.
That mother's maiden name is a big, big, big deal. Get this. Horror story time. Where is it? Hold on. Her mom had a different name because her mother's one document was her maiden name and one was her married name, and she had to get both. Because what they don't want, it's not that they're being jerks about it. They don't want somebody running from one country under one identification ID and coming to another country.
Right.
You know, you're going to have to get a federal police background check and a local police background check, and make sure you do that. I would say
this is to live permanently or just to
oh, sorry, that's something you might need later. But again, here's the thing, right? You probably won't need it because you're coming to visit, but I'd rather you had it just in case.
Because again, is the Brazilian government doing that, or is that something you get from the States?
You get from the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you get it online?
You can you call your local sheriff and just say, hey, how much is it to get a background check? And I would get one a week before you came. They're like $5 or $10. Let's say 20. Again, I'd rather you have it and not need it. Because here's another thing. We don't know the way the world is going to work. What if after you get here, you get hit with the terrible, terrible problem of now you stranded in Brazil. Oh, my goodness. Whatever will you do as you're panicking, complaining to your family like, I don't know. I mean, I wish I could get out of Brazil. Sir, I think the plane starts tomorrow. No, I don't know. I might have to stay here. I might have to live here. I don't think they're going to let me leave.
Right. And
you decide to put in your paperwork and say, I want to stay for good. You're going to need that stuff.
Okay.
Again, I'm going overkill. I want to be clear.
Right.
I'm definitely going overkill.
That's good to know.
Get everything apostille. What that means is it's an official document that says your documents are official. And everybody can go back through this later and you can, look at it slow and go, okay, what is apostille? What else would I say you should definitely look at? Now, you may be able to get an SUS card. You should be able to start that registration online. Now, here's something a lot of Americans don't know. The SUS card, hold on a second, I'm putting medical insurance. I'm putting a link here. The SUS card is what you need in Brazil to get government government medical aid. Outside the United States, healthcare is not seen as a privilege. It is not seen as something you get if you deserve it. Healthcare is something you just get. In every country I've lived in outside the United States, and I've lived in 15, healthcare was something they didn't even ask where you're from that country. You're sick, you just get medicine. If it costs anything, it costs a couple of bucks because they don't see medicine as a revenue generator. Mm-hmm. SUS is the Brazilian one. The link I put in the chat there is a place you can start looking at it and start that paperwork. Getting an SUS card, again, it's free. They don't even ask you if you where you're from or any of that stuff. You might have to show them your CPF number, but they don't deny you medicine. This is why you have so many people realizing, and unfortunately, some of them realize it. They realize it too late that you can lose. I say this because I worked in the financial industry for many years before I semi-retired at 37. I worked directly with money. I worked directly with families. I looked at what happens when you have someone who does everything the right way, get hit with one medical issue, and it bankrupts them because you had the misfortune of getting, I don't know, let's not even say something big like cancer. Let's just say something's going to take 3 or 4 operations to fix it, that no one's going to help you financially until you're bankrupt. And even then, the government's going to give you some half-assed help. Whereas in every other country in the world, they say, oh, America has the best doctors. Let's assume that's true, but it's not. Okay, there are great doctors everywhere, but you're trained not to think that as an American. Let's just assume that's true. How many working class people do you know that are going to get to those doctors? I'd rather have an average doctor from any place else in the world than having a low average doctor from the United States who's working 17 and a half hours a day to give me subpar medical assistance. Right. And Coach Joey Jones, he'll even tell you, one of the things that I do when anybody can contact me, one of the things I do is I help people with passports, paperwork. My company does that. We can go into that later, but I want everybody to know they can contact me for it the same way you did. What else am I going to say? Here's something fun. Have you researched any of the neighborhoods?
No, I've just been looking at the favelas and
pretty
much like, not to live, but
do you live in poverty in America?
Looking at where they are to see where they are in relation to where some of the more safer areas are. Because it seems like those areas in the downtown would be more like the touristy or safer or higher income areas as opposed to obviously the lower income areas. So.
Okay. Now, what you would do is you'd look at Avenida Paulista is a place 15 minutes away from where I am. It's the big place in São Paulo, Brazil. Everybody knows this street. It's got all the big businesses, and on Saturday night, people just stroll up and down and all the streets up and down there, and you can go, one restaurant might have the fight playing, another one might have a live band. It's a big street. Even on Sundays, they cut it off to traffic and just open up street fairs and people and jugglers and people doing tight walks across open areas. It's a really good place to be. Don't live too far away from there. I would actually say live near, let's see, a place, give you an example. Republica. Everybody knows Republica. It's a downtown area, right? That has a lot of historic stuff. Near this train station, Republica, that's one that I would suggest. Now, like any downtown, people say, oh, Brazil's dangerous. Let me tell you something. You don't want to be downtown New York late at night, walking around with your phone out like a tourist, just like you wouldn't want to do it here. People often say, is Brazil violent or dangerous? The explanation I give them is absolutely, but it's less violent and dangerous than America. And that's when people get real weird. They say, wait a minute, from every news report I've seen in America, mind you, Brazil's more dangerous than any other place in the world. And I always say, well, think of it this way. Let's say 100 people die in every country, right? Brazil and America. Here's the difference. In America, you can get killed as one of those 100 people in a movie theater, buying lettuce at the supermarket. You could be walking down the street. You could be a black child who's killed by a white person who simply doesn't think you should be there. In Brazil, for me to get shot randomly, I would have to be someplace I had no place being, with some people I had no business hanging around, doing some shit that I should definitely not be doing. I'm not going to accidentally get into a bad neighborhood. I'm not going to accidentally get killed here. Because I don't live in the ghetto. I don't do things that people who get shot do. I don't have friends like that. I'm a square. L7 for life.
It's pretty much a matter of common sense. Me, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, so I think if I can handle myself there, it's just a matter of just again, keep your phone, make sure your bag is zipped up, watch your pockets, put a rubber band around your wallet. I mean, it's just like basic stuff for people who don't research, I can see why they might get, pickpocketed. But if you've actually been doing your research and studying, you would have found like some tips and things to keep yourself safe. So makes sense.
And that's a big deal. People want to act like, oh, this country is terrible. No, it's not. No, it's actually not. Not nearly as much as you think it is. But everybody has to have a story about how terrible the other countries are. And and while I'm on a tangent, right, while I'm on a soapbox, check this one out. Why would you and I, as Black people, trust a government that says lies about us in our own language where we can actually defend it and trust them to tell the truth about another country?
Right.
Yeah. Well, nobody wants to think about that. Let me see. Let me go down this list. What else I got here for you?
What I did was I had some stuff written down, and I think you can I was timestamped this part like 31 minutes, so that way people who come in who just want to hear like cost of living and some of the stuff like that, so that way they might not want to sit through the whole thing. But I was going to ask some questions as far as cost and affordability. That's probably some of the biggest questions for people who are looking to move. Me myself have been an entrepreneur and having my own business. Obviously want to make my dollar go the furthest. That's why I would even consider Brazil. My first choice would be like Colombia, just because Medellin is like one of the cheapest places in the world, still very modern. And then I was considering DR and then Brazil. I'm staying in this like northern southern hemisphere. I wouldn't be moving like to Asia. Right. So cost and affordability and where you are specifically, Sao Paulo, how would you say that is compared to the U.S.?
Well, I'll do two things. One last link I wanted to give everybody so that they had a chance to look at it. Let me see here. There is an article that I didn't do actually that Al did, and I'm going to put it in the comments. And it was called "Escape to Brazil, Passport and Visa." I'm going to show you real quick on the screen, and I'm going to put a link there, and then I'm going to go to that whole cost of living thing because that's critical. That's critical. Let's see. Here's the page.
Yeah, before a person even starts doing get the CPF and getting all these documents together, they they might want to find some place that's affordable for them and their budget.
So I'm going to show you a website that I really have found is a very accurate cost of living calculator. Now, you said you're from Baltimore, Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking about Numbeo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a
everybody really should check that website. It's really good because it's updated by real people who give in their input.
How do you spell Baltimore? Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah, Baltimore.
Gotcha. Okay. Here's the thing: every aspect of life you can think of is going to be cheaper in Brazil in two different ways. One is the literal cost of things is cheaper, but two, the exchange rate. If you're someone like you or I that has a business that can get paid in US dollars or euro or Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, we can have a multiplier effect that means everything becomes so much less expensive that we can save more. People know I'm an investor. I love my investments. And Sid, we'll have to hang out soon. People know I love my investments. So when people say, well, where does that money go that you claim to be saving? You'll never see it. I don't wear it. I don't flaunt it. I invest it. Now, look at this. Consumer prices in São Paulo, Brazil are 55% lower than in Baltimore. Look at all those things. I don't know how they calculate exact purchasing power, but I can tell you this is true. Meal in an inexpensive restaurant, you can buy a sandwich for five US. No, you can buy a meal with a short little piece of steak, beans, rice, and a little salad for that with no problem.
One of the things I always look at on that site is groceries.
Okay, here we go.
Eat out all the time, people.
Right.
Maybe once in a while. But like I always look at like milk and chicken. I think those are good indicators for places that have good prices.
1 liter of milk, 63 cents in Sao Paulo, 78 in USD. But let's look at chicken because, you know, people, we lift and weights. There's a lot of chicken. Where is chicken? Wait, I don't see chicken.
It's up there. Chicken fillets.
Chicken fillet. Okay. 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. $8 in Baltimore, $2.50 here.
Night and day.
Do you know how much chicken that is?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
a lot of chicken. That's a whole lot of chicken. I'll even go a step further and tell you that when you get out here, I'll let you go to the supermarket the first week, but every neighborhood gets a market on one day of the week. I'm going to take you out to the fresh food market, which is, you know, it's one of those areas where you can go out there and buy so much fruit, so many vegetables, so many pounds of meat, and look at your wallet afterwards and realize you didn't even put a dent in it. And this stuff was literally at the farm a couple days ago.
That's awesome.
Literally, it was at the farm.
That's the thing, I think, for people who might consider moving. You know, obviously, rent will be number one, but the things that can really eat up your budget are if you're out spending money all the time. Like, if you don't have any recurring bills, but like rent, utilities, and phone, you know, maybe a couple of services on your iPhone or something, then your money can only get spent if you're going out, spending it here, going to bars and that. So I always look at groceries because I'm someone that's going to be, I'm pretty frugal. I'm someone that's going to be cooking and stuff like that.
So look at this. Those oranges, you can't really get a good size on those oranges. 15 for 10 real. 10 real is, let me think, $2 or $3 US. Look at these giant slabs of salmon that you can get down there. The food area, I'm going to tell you something, man. Go ahead.
Salmon is expensive up here.
Say again?
I don't know how much it costs. Salmon is expensive in the States, almost everywhere. I don't know how much it costs down there.
Oh, it's much cheaper, but I'll even go farther. When I walk down the street, oh, by the way, this is, you know, me making my little meal prep. You know what's up with the box lunches.
Yeah.
My whole thing is this. I mean, there is no more excuse if you move to Brazil for anybody to not be able to eat exactly the way they want to. If you're somebody who says, I wish I had enough money to eat whole foods and this and that. If you do it here, because remember, outside the United States, fast food is expensive. You going out to Domino's Pizza, that's real expensive. But if you just say, I want to go out, get a couple of chickens and all the sides with it, you can go to a local restaurant, buy an entire chicken and all the sides for almost nothing. You know, like I'll show you, look at this. This is just me taking pictures. I was so enthralled. Just go to the market and just look at all that. Just look at all that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Here's a little video I made. This is just a day at the market. This is how I learned how to count. And by the way, this lady in the blue shirt, I call her my spice girl because I go there and she makes all the spice blends you want. She behind her has every spice you can think of. And if you say, hey, you know, give me 2 scoops of pepper, 1 scoop of lemon, another scoop of ginger, and another of lime, and I'm gonna sprinkle it on my fish. Boom, 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 boom. She puts it in the grinder. Here you go. Hey, listen, everything is expensive in the States.
It is, and it's unfortunate because it's just, I feel like it's sometimes in a rat race. Like, you know, you make $100,000 in the States, but because of the cost of living, especially where you might be and all these recurring bills that you have to get, you might as well be making like $40,000. You know, but I feel like if you make $40,000 in US dollars in another country, you probably would be living really well, like on the lower salary.
Very. And look, She went vegetarian because it was easier and more affordable.
Nice.
I mean, that's matter of fact. Let me show you something. I did an article called "The Expense Report." I think you may have seen it. But the thing about the expense report article is this. This information was with a different exchange rate, so everything that I'm going to show folks is actually cheaper now.
When the exchange rate changes, does your rent change? Does your landlord change the rent, or is it locked in?
Oh no, that would be illegal, I believe. And so as long as he gets paid on time, you know, they're always trying to sell me the apartment. I've been such a good tenant, and they're like, listen, you know, we can just sell you this apartment. It's a buyer's market right now. So I'm always like, ooh, let me think about it. But
hey, might be good to have some property there, you know.
You know, maybe, but you know, I've still got some adventure left. You know, I haven't hung up my guns yet. I don't want to. And here's the thing: I know that the headaches that come with renting stuff out, so I'm not ready for that yet.
Right.
But if you look at this, you know, I told people this is at a different exchange rate. A 30 square meter apartment, it was $360 a month. My maid, I pay $70 a month. Cell phone, $50. Fresh fruits and vegetables, I spend $50 or less. Meat, $40 or less. Gas bill, $8. Let me say that again. My cooking, my stove on my little 4-range burner, $8. Electricity, $24. Internet, $25. Gym fees, about $22 a month at averages.
Hold on, pause for a second. Let's touch on the internet and gym speed. Now, I mean, internet speed and gym. Now, I'm, like I said, entrepreneur, obviously a fitness channel, fitness guy. I will be going to the gym every single day. Obviously, when things get better, we know what's going on in the world now. But when things get better, I'll be going to the gym. And so as far as the gym and how are the gyms there from a quality point of view and price, and how is the internet? Could you touch on that?
I'm glad you asked. Well, the internet obviously is global quality because I'm sitting, you know, in my home studio / my couch doing this right now over Wi-Fi. The gyms, the thing I love about Brazilian people is they're vain. Brazilian people like to look good. I can take you and stand you in front of my apartment. 2 blocks this way, there's a kickboxing gym. 1 block on the corner here, there's a weightlifting gym. You turn left, there's another weightlifting gym. If you go down another 2 blocks from there, it's another weightlifting gym, all of varying qualities. Now, the one that I used to go to, and it closed and consolidated with another one of their, and you know, the writing's on the wall when gyms start closing because the economic blah, blah, blah. My gym, I don't need a bunch of fancy stuff. My gym had like maybe 8 machines. You just walk in and it's just a bunch of free weights and a squat rack and a couple bench presses and a couple of full dumbbells and, you know, have fun. Because I'm not, you might need a gym that looks great to take videos in. I don't. I put on my hoodie, you know, and people who know me from working out, they know that when I go into hoodie mode, because I'm a social person and I have a weakness. I like talking to people. I like having fun. So what I do is I put my hoodie on, I put my earphones in, you know, and I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to talk to anybody, especially when I'm on my cardio, because I told you, you understand, like, see this? I hate cardio. I make no mistake about it. I really hate cardio. I do it because I have to, like eating vegetables, but I really hate cardio. I don't know if I said that enough. On the weekends, you know what we're going to have to do on the weekends?
Who would you say is more vain? Would you say it's Brazilians or Colombians? Because I've heard Colombians are super vain too. They're like workout people.
Ooh, I haven't been to Colombia. I know Colombians, but I can tell you here's the difference that I've seen and been told. Both people are vain. They care about the way they look. They care about the way man, look at that. I miss those because I've gotten a little fluffy sitting on the couch. I got my kettlebell, but my kettlebell is, I always call it the side bitch because I would do that on the weekends. But look at those. You see the veins in those arms? Look at that. Right now, right now.
Go to my IG so they can see me work out. So I'm coming down there to, you know, I'm coming down there. I'm trying to get it in. Like I'm not even playing the game. So that's why the gym is like
on the couch. I can say I haven't gained any weight, but I've gotten fluffy because my kettlebell, I can do a lot with a kettlebell, but a kettlebell is never going to weigh 225. It's never going to be a 225 bar.
Right. It's a difference.
You know? Look at what he just said. He said Brazilians love mirrors and cameras.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have to go down to the park one day, and they have outdoor gyms with bars, and you see people just getting it in. I remember I realized what my competition was mentally. I went to the park one day to do an outdoor workout, just push-ups, sit-ups, maybe do some quick walking. There was a guy, his hair was almost completely white, doing freehand behind the neck pull-ups, just I was like, that's what we're doing out here today. That's what we're doing out here. I was like, I don't know what to say. But I can take you to some gyms that range any place from $30 a month to $10 a month. And if you buy a yearly plan, you know how gyms go. You buy the
yearly plan. It'd be nice if I could have like some cardio. If they're like apartment buildings down there that had cardio, I'd be willing to pay a little more each month. Like if they had like a cardio equipment with it.
Yeah, well, it depends on the building you go to. Like I can show you a bunch of different apartment complex buildings where some of them, as part of the fee, they're like, "Hey, here's our gym."
Nice.
Most people never gonna use them anyway.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that's absolutely plausible. You know, we'll get some kettlebells on the weekend. Do kettlebells?
Yeah, I need to get kettlebell certified. I'm just NASM certified. I don't even use kettlebells myself, but I'm always open. Learn something new.
Kettlebells are a lot of fun, and they're functional strength. So you find, because I come from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu background of grappling, you find a lot of fighters like kettlebells because it's the way the weight moves. It's not a perfect weight. You're constantly struggling against readjusting your wrist, readjusting your arm a little bit when you're going up and down, which clearly mimics if I'm grabbing a guy and he's trying to throw me and I'm trying to throw him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And look at this. I'll say she's got a gym for $20 USD a month. Nice. And these are nice gyms.
Yeah.
But the one down the road for me is part of a network where you can pay an extra $2 a month and go to any of them. I have to be careful because some gyms are there for people who want to work out, and there are some gyms that are there for people who want to be seen working out.
Got you.
So for me,
I never matter to me. I just need a gym.
Yeah. I just don't want to be. There's nothing worse than the guy who does his set and then he wants to take 10 minutes of pictures, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Are you serious?
I just have to work in with him. I'll have to figure out in Portugal. How do you say? Can I work in with you?
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah. But then there's universal, like this. You go.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as working out, you will not have any problem at all finding an adequate gym, especially because I wouldn't let you live any place too far away from the center of the city, not just for safety reasons, but you're coming to São Paulo, Brazil to enjoy the city. I want you to be in a place where, I can call you and say, hey, they're having a jazz concert downtown and you're no more than 20 minutes away.
Right.
Let's go do
and
this.
I like walking. I probably won't be on a moped if they have them. I don't know if they have it. I don't know if moto culture is really big in Brazil, but I won't be on the moped. I'll be walking everywhere I go unless it's like really far and I have to take an Uber or something.
I'll tell you something funny, and in the people in the comments, I want you all to tell them if I'm telling the truth. Brazil is strange, is that 75% of the time you're walking uphill. I don't know how they do that with the streets, but you're walking uphill 75% of the time, which mathematically shouldn't work out. Right. But the way the city goes.
Okay, got you.
But yeah, that's a big one. Neighborhoods, there are a couple of really good neighborhoods I'll introduce you to, because what you also want to be is near a good train station, because if you're near a good train station, you can get anywhere anytime. But Uber at the same time, you hook your Uber. That's another thing. If you have Uber and Uber Eats, and I would definitely say use those in America to make sure you have them linked up. Link them to your American PayPal account, so you're paying in US dollars, and they become almost free because you're paying on the exchange.
Right. Makes sense.
So exactly. And you can get spoiled. It's very easy to let yourself say, it's Friday. I'm supposed to meet my friends down at this little coffee house. I could walk it for the 20 minutes, but Uber is only going to cost me $2.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's tempting. Wow, that's nothing. $2. What the heck?
And that's the scary part. Hey, look, she said, only in Brazil are you genuinely walking uphill both ways. But yeah, it's just it's very easy to let the ability to have a little bit more income comparatively get to you. You know, there are some things I'm definitely going to never give up on, because like once you have a point where you can have a maid that comes in, you
I
tell
still can't
yourself
see
you're not
myself
going to
getting
do
a
it.
maid. Like that just
Here's the
it
thing:
feels a little too. It feels too Beverly Hills for me, you know.
everything you're saying makes sense, and then when you get here, we're going to make a video about how you were wrong.
Yeah.
Because once you realize, A, she can clean better than you ever could. B, the 2 or 3 hours she's in your apartment cleaning, you can sit down on your computer and edit a video and make money.
Right.
It's going to change everything.
Right.
It's going to change everything. And I've had something, matter of fact, I had to do a video called Brazilian Maid Service because some people got really in their feelings about having a maid. And I'm like, well, first of all, I earned it because I did this money.
I don't think it's not wrong. It's just weird for someone like me because in America, you know, if you have a maid, then that obviously is associated with you being wealthy, right? If you can afford a maid, clearly you're wealthy. But it doesn't seem like it's that in the other countries, you know.
No,
seems like
it's
a maid
not.
is just normal.
Well, okay, we can get into a social discussion another time, but I'll give you the nuts and bolts of it is every country makes cheapest whatever it has the most of. In Brazil, because of the legacy of slavery, human capital and human labor is extraordinarily cheap. Anything that you have to do with your 2 hands is extraordinarily cheap. Okay? And maids fall into that category.
I see somebody in the comments, Owl said that I walk 16,000 steps. Yeah, I have my Fitbit, and that's what I talk about on my channel, like some fitness stuff, and I try to get at least 20,000 steps a day. So I don't know how. When I was in New York, I was getting like 30K. So I don't know how many steps I'll be getting in Brazil because I won't have a car. So it'll be walk, walk, walk. So we'll see.
Well, here's the other thing is, what is walking in the summertime like there?
Oh, it's hot. You're going to sweat. Like it's not. It can be uncomfortable if it's blazing, but you know, you put on some sunscreen because yes, even black people need sunscreen, believe it or not. Like, you know, but you put on some sunscreen and you're good to go.
Okay. Because I know here on a summer evening when it's still 85 degrees outside, 90 degrees, and you walking, yeah. I'll tell you what, my friend, it can get you. It can get you. That heat.
But
you know,
just living in the Northeast, like just thinking of a summer night, a warm night, that is just like that's enough to make most people move. Like you don't know how cold it is in the Northeast. Like it's cold 75% of the year. You go from like cold, not as cold, and then hot. It's just ridiculous. So a warm night, yeah, I can look forward to that for sure.
Let's see. You know what I'm looking for?
You'll be back up to 20K without a glance.
Wow. I don't. Maybe you can help me find it.
Wow, that's pretty good.
What'd you say?
She said she walked 7 to 8 miles before even starting exercising. So that's really good.
Do you have a cardio picture?
I usually put them in the stories. I don't think I put cardio on my page. Maybe.
You know, I still can't do that. I can't fully supinate. My arms don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why a lot of people need to use the easy bar because that straight bar, it puts a lot of strain on the wrist. So use the easy bar. The only thing is the straight bar, you can get a better head of the biceps brachii. You can get more of the head as opposed to the easy bar. That's really the only difference. Yeah.
You want to hear something petty? I can't wear big earphones like that because my inside of my ear gets sweaty.
Oh yeah. Well, those are on ear, not over the ear. I did a review about those on my YouTube channel. So yeah. Yeah, I missed the gym, man. You know, with all this going on right now, we haven't even been able to do anything. So, it's a pain. But that's my biggest thing: rent, groceries, and gym. Whichever country got the cheapest, that's where I'm going, pretty much.
So I noticed you've got merchandise.
Yeah. That's why I'm
Do you
trying to
have
get the
tank tops?
10K. I'm trying to get the 10,000 subs so I can put my Teespring store, like where my shirt is, on my YouTube channel. That way, people can buy shirts if they want from the store.
Well, let me ask an important question. Do you have your SPK shirts and tank tops?
Yeah.
Are you going to bring me some?
Sure, yeah. I have to
Thank
go
you.
order them before I come. I definitely, I can bring you
Thank
some.
you. I accept presents, and I would like to do a workout
Yeah.
in an SPK tank top.
All right, cool.
And for the people watching, I want to tell everybody, because one of the things about me is I always tell people I love lifting big, heavy weights. He's the difference between lifting heavy weights and eating with a strict discipline. Because I want to be very clear. The reason I can't look like him is because I eat too fucking much. Just because I don't
Diet
eat
is the
junk food,
hardest part for me.
you know,
Diet is so tough.
that's the
I
thing.
do a
Just
lot of
because I don't eat
cardio.
junk food doesn't mean I don't eat. Because people think, oh, well, Wateef, you never eat junk food. How come you can't look? Well, listen, I still eat an
It's
entire chicken for
calories.
lunch.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can get fat eating too much rice or too many Snickers. It doesn't matter. It's calories.
You know, I like butter on my. I eat a lot of broccoli, but you know what I put on my broccoli? Butter. Oh.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, woo. 7 or 8 miles before I start my exercise.
Yeah, that's about right. 20K steps get you like 7, 8, 9, depending on your stride length. Just depends. That's Fitbit.
Yeah.
This was what helped me lose most of my weight, like 200 plus pounds. I've had this on since 2017, and I'm just looking to go to a culture where they value fitness. In America, they clearly don't. Some people do, but most people don't. It's just no.
So you said your Fitbit helped you to lose a lot of weight. Can you open up on that?
Yeah, so I made a video about that on my channel, but pretty much because I was able to track my steps to make sure that I was active, I could see some days where it was like, hey, I only moved 10,000 steps. I need to move more, in addition to the cardio that I would do. So I will always do cardio, but it was like, I feel like I can move a little bit more today, as opposed to other days. Also, it helps me with my sleep. As you know, with recovery, sleep is one of the most anabolic things you could do.
Yep.
So when you're not getting good sleep, or when you get interrupted sleep and you're not able to get that REM sleep, that deep sleep, that can affect your recovery, which can inhibit you from losing weight, right? Also, if you don't get enough sleep, that will impact your appetite. So it's just like, I feel like all the tools that it's given me, it's been one of my most valuable assets. Not saying you have to have a Fitbit to lose weight, because people have been losing weight before Fitbit, but for me, it was just like something that I really did use to benefit from.
It's amazing how active you'll become with a pedometer. I use Apple Watch and I track my calories burned. Inaccurate, I'm sure, but that's steps too.
Yeah,
I have one with the knockoff brand.
The calories are inaccurate. I've talked about that before, because it uses the technology. Apple and Fitbit use the same heart rate technology, PPG, photoplasmography, to track the vessels under the skin, how much they contract and expand. And then it spits that into the algorithm, gives you a heart rate. From there, they give you your calories. So it's slightly off in a sense, but at the same time, at least you got an idea. See, without a pedometer, or like she said, a Fitbit or Apple Watch, you don't know how much you're walking, right? So when you see like, okay, 20,000 steps today, you know you moved a lot. When you see 8,000 steps, you know you didn't move as much, and you know you didn't burn as many calories. So that's why I like it. And she's right.
And now a pedometer, that works the same way. It doesn't matter whether or not you're walking from your desk to the bathroom or if you're on a treadmill. It works the same way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a good investment, I think. Apple Watch it's more bells and whistles. You know, you can do a lot with it. Fitbit is more affordable depending on which one you get, and I like the Fitbit app, right? So,
well, I've got one, and I'm going to be clear. I have it. Let's be honest. I don't use it.
yeah.
I've got one of these Xiaomi Mi Band. Xiaomi Technology. They make
I
really
heard
good
that.
phones.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah.
technologies, and I've got one of those. You know, to
Speaking
be
of
clear,
this,
I
since
don't
we're
use
on
it.
this topic, how is shipping? Like, say I wanted to get an iPhone or I wanted to get a MacBook, something electronic. If I didn't want to buy it there, like, do they have Amazon Brazil? Or do they have
Well,
some type of Alibaba
okay.
maybe?
Here's where the answer is: can you? Absolutely. Should you? Under no circumstances. As a matter of fact, what I would suggest you do is, because every country has its ups and its downs. Here, electronics are extraordinarily overtaxed. Like, that's how they make some money, because they know if you're going to buy an Apple computer, they don't charge you a little bit more. They charge you a lot more. If you're going to buy a new iPhone, they're not going to charge you a little more. They're going to charge you a lot more. So what I tell people is, if you, and look, see this, buy your electronics in the US. If you're coming to Brazil and you think it's going to be for the long haul, look at your computer and decide, is it worth it to go on an upgrade and get myself a brand new one a month before I come, make sure everything works, and bring it with me? If you have a phone, I suggest getting a new phone with a 2-chip slot. So you can put in your chip from America for your American whatever you have, but you can also put in a chip from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say get those 2 pieces of electronics beforehand, because here's the thing. Let's say you got a buddy coming to Brazil to bring you a new computer. They would have to unwrap it, make it look like theirs, because if they catch you at the border smuggling in electronics, they're going to tax you into the next dimension.
That's crazy.
They'll just take it and say, "Oh, that'll be
So
like."
do they have Apple stores down there?
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
a modern city. Is it just much more expensive?
The service isn't. For example, I have Apple Care. I can go into any Apple store anywhere in the world. The service is the same. You can walk into an Apple store in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It looks just like an Apple store in New York or Bangkok or Shanghai, where I just left. They're the same. It's the same level of service, the same quality. Matter of fact, something interesting. That's one of the only places I've ever been where, as a matter of store policy, everybody in there is bilingual. So they pay those people a lot of money because the Apple brand is an important brand. I've used MacBook Pros and Apple products since I was right out of college, since college. And I can tell you the reason it's worth the money is because they will really take care of you. So, I mean, what kind of computer do you run?
Well, my MacBook Pro, like, I had a 2011 and it died like 2 years ago, and I just never replaced it. So right now I just have like a HP something, I don't know. But I do all my editing on my phone. I have like the XS Max, iPhone 10X Max, pretty much. And that's how I do all my editing. I use LumaFusion and KineMaster, and I was planning on carrying that there. I wasn't going to upgrade my computer. I just use it for typing.
How long have you had your phone?
Huh?
How long have you had that phone?
Been about a year.
Oh, so you're good for a while, right?
And I'm not about to upgrade the phone again.
Yeah, you're good. What I would
slow it down, but I don't care.
What I would say, though, is consider treating yourself to a MacBook Pro 13-inch small model. It matters. And as somebody who does video stuff, I mean, I use Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
I don't edit much at all for my YouTube. I don't edit at all.
Yeah, if I had Final Cut Pro, my videos would be 10 times better, but I don't have it right now. So,
well, I would actually say, if it's worth it, go for it. I would say go for it and get yourself, treat yourself. If it's in the budget for travel, treat yourself to a MacBook Pro. Get the full warranty there, because you can't buy the warranty here, but if you have one, they'll take care of you.
But how much would a MacBook Pro be there?
Well, hold on, let's find out.
Because I'm trying to figure out, is it like a premium on electronics, or is it a premium on importing electronics?
Oh, it's a premium on imported electronics.
Okay.
And MacBooks are imported.
It's not that it's more expensive. They don't sell warranties. Oh, okay.
No. Well, that too. But hold on. Let's do this. Let me see something. And we're gonna go.
So if you break your Apple Watch out over there, you out of luck if you don't have the warranty. Dang, that sucks. Yeah, I would definitely get that.
Let's see. So here we go. I'm gonna show you real quick the price on what it's like for a MacBook Pro here. If you were to buy one.
Okay.
Apple Brazil, 13-inch. That's $13,900.
Yeah.
Okay. $13,900.
I don't have my currency converter with me.
Okay. Well,
it's on the phone that I'm using.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, hold on a minute. Let's just do this then. Hold on. I'm going to show you something. Okay, if that's $13,900, I'll show you how much it costs in the United States. $13,900. Hold on, and I'll tell you in 139. 13,900 real is how much it costs in Brazil. That's $2,500. That's how much it costs in the US. 1,300.
Okay, so it's definitely a premium on it.
Yeah, you're paying 50% more. So, I'm a big advocate of get the one you need. Like, I know a lot of artists that get the giant ones, but to get a basic run-of-the-mill model, 13 plus Apple Care, go on, treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. And they ride forever. And that's the thing. I mean, I can tell you, I've had problems with my MacBook. I mean, once I dropped it on the edge and the motherboard shifted. When you go to the Apple store, the way that they take care of you is I mean, people have written entire books on Apple and how they manage to build customer loyalty. If something's wrong, they just fix it. I had a situation where my charger, for some reason, stopped charging. They took it in the back. They said, we can't figure out what's wrong, so just go get a new one. They just rang it and say, here you go. Once you pay for the Apple Care, I mean, they just fix it. And that's why people become evangelists for Apple. That's why you become a fanboy. Because the first time you realize, wow, this is amazing.
Right. All right, I got another topic. This is more, not so much for me, even though I'm curious about it, but this is for the guys who might be curious about it. Let's talk about how are the women in Brazil, right? I think that's what most guys end up knowing Brazil for. Forget the beaches, forget the infrastructure. Women, that's all they talk about, right? So how are the women in Brazil compared to women in America? How would you say? How has your experience been?
Well, here's the thing. We got to be clear when we say, how are the women there? I'll give you an example because I did something called Easy Brazilian Women, and I wrote an article about, I'm still thinking because I'm a writer at heart. I do public speaking and writing. I did a video called Easy Brazilian Women, and I'm going to put it here in the comments. And I'll tell you why it's one of my most controversial articles, because people get angry about what I said. The reason people get angry is because I have to explain to men all the time, no matter how much they refuse to believe me and find out the hard way. And some of the women might get upset about this too. Women are women. If you're a man who is successful with women at home, you'll come here and you'll do just fine. If you don't mind talking to women at home, you won't have a problem talking to women here. If you're a man who takes care of yourself at home and women find you attractive, you won't have a problem. But you get a lot of losers who think that when they get off the airplane, all of a sudden, all my problems go away because I'm an American.
That's really what they do in Colombia and the DR. They think they can be some fat, slob, out of shape dude, and all these women just want to flock to them because they're Americans. Like, no. No, women find men attractive in America the same as they find them attractive overseas. It's just that you have a little more money, that's all.
If you go somewhere and you say, I just want to enjoy prostitutes in a new country, I've got no problem with that. Let me say that again. If a man says, I'm just going to get on a plane, go to different countries and enjoy prostitutes, go for it. But don't tell yourself that that's not what you're doing, because those guys put themselves in a very dangerous situation when they say, no, that's not what this is. Well, yeah, it is. Dude, you have no social skills. You don't wash. The only thing you have is a wallet, and you're telling yourself that she's genuinely attracted to you. Like, how does that work out in your brain? And here's the other part, and it didn't work at home, but you think it works here. Like, how does that?
Right. I got you.
But you can't tell people, and then they get taken advantage of, and it becomes, oh, the women in that country are mean. No, they're not. Yeah. You're an idiot. I know so many cautionary tales. I know a guy who went down there. The place I'll take you called the Plaza de Largo. It's a hangout spot. Bands outside and music and restaurants about a lot of food that we probably shouldn't be eating. Can I ask you to reserve 10 pounds? Can I ask you to cut a hard cut 10 pounds before you get here and allocate that as the YusefWateef hangout 10 pounds?
When I cut, I'm not gaining it back. The only reason I'm even this heavy now is because there's no gym here, and like everything is pretty much scarce in a sense. Like I'm just walking my 20,000 steps a day. But my thing is I'm coming down there to enjoy myself, but to hustle. Like I'm uploading a YouTube video every day. I'm selling my book. Like I'm a.
I know some people I can introduce you to as well. Yeah, but here's the thing. There's some amazing sushi here.
To meet prostitutes, or I'm not coming down there to go to the club and be on Brazilian Tinder. Or
can I get you to come to some restaurants with me though? There's some amazing.
I will definitely come.
Because here's the thing, man. You know how they say you can get fat on anything. There's some high quality sushi places here that I go to.
I love sushi.
High quality sushi, high quality sashimi. There's a couple Brazilian restaurants that I'm gonna be dead honest. There's a style of food called Mineiro. There's a state called Minas Gerais. It's notorious for the kind of food that you really need to only eat once or twice a month, and even then, it's got to be right before bed because it will just bang.
Yeah,
I mean, the food is. That's why I'm saying if you can just say, listen, I'm gonna make sure that I have 10 pounds set aside because when YusefWateef takes me out on Saturday, I'm gonna say just give me your first week and weekend to just say, listen, we aren't gonna record it. We're gonna just go dark. We just go dark, and when the lights come back on, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness.
It's definitely a good idea to cut a little extra weight before you go. Yeah, like me, like this is too big for me right now, but it is what it is. I can only do so much without the gym, in all honesty, so I'm not tripping. But if Brazil's a help,
Yeah. The other thing I will also say to you is, do you do any kind of combat?
No.
Could I introduce you to the gospel of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
No. No.
Would you give service a chance? Would you?
No, most I would do. Hold on, which was the one Royce Gracie did?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah.
Okay, I would try that one.
We'll have to.
That's the grappling, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like the kicking and the punching in the roundhouse. I don't like that one. I like the grappling.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit in the moneymaker.
Huh?
You don't want to get hit in your moneymaker in the face.
No, I don't want to lose no teeth. No, I don't. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want my orbital socket broken and stuff. I'm good. I'll grapple though. That's good cardio for sure.
Yeah, and here's the thing: people understand it's a different kind of cardio, and it's hard to describe the difference between being on a treadmill for half an hour and having somebody trying to fight somebody off for half an hour, trying to get them off you or grab somebody.
Grappling is pretty much hit because you're exerting a lot of energy like all the time.
Yeah. But we'll have to. That's one of the many things that I'll definitely want you to try out when you get here. And by the way, when you get here, what I'd like for you to do is to reserve an Airbnb. Let's say for the first 2 weeks, and we can look around at different neighborhoods. When you decide, okay, I want to find an apartment in a different place. Airbnb is a good a couple first options. I also know some people that I might be able to say, hey, can you rent this guy a room? He's a friend of mine. We'll see how that goes. But that's something you definitely want to do ahead of time. Interestingly enough, it'll be almost free because the prices are
I
so
look at
low right now.
Airbnb every day. Like I'm to the point now where I'm trying to figure out when should I get my ticket, because I don't want to get a ticket for say like June 1st and then they have another lockdown in Brazil, then I can't go anywhere, or in the States.
Here's the thing. I think that the state of Sao Paulo opens back up again May 10th.
That's why I booked my Miami trip to June 1st. I already booked that ticket because it was so cheap. But my ticket from Miami to wherever I'm going, I haven't booked yet. That's what I'm waiting on.
How long do you plan on staying in Miami?
A day, maybe 2 days. I think a lot of places will be open up by June 1st.
I agree. We got a relevant question about the tourist visa. Now, here's the thing. The tourist visa right now, you can get for 3 months, no problem, plus a 3-month extension. Americans, I believe, don't need that anymore. But what we'll do is laws change, and we don't know how this law will change as a result. So what I'd like to do then is, you said May 1st you've got your ticket?
June 1st.
June 1st. Then that means on a month from now, let's say May 15th, we're going to double check and find out what the cost, or if they've reinstituted any visas, we're going to find out what that is. Okay?
Because I don't want the flights to go back up. I looked at a flight right now to Brazil is like $364.
Wait, say that again?
Wow. I looked at a flight from Miami to Brazil. It's like $364.
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't want to wait too long, and then it jumps back up to like $700-800.
Wow. Whoo, that's tempting to not just say
to just get it and roll the dice. And I mean, you would pay the difference, but the difference might not be that much. So it's tempting to just get it and hold it. Kind of like if things will be open.
Well, here's where you would make some of that money back. If you told me I'm going to be in Brazil on this day, I would get on a 3-way phone call with you and one of the people that I know that do Airbnb and say, hey, do we need to go through the app, or can I reserve this room with you for him when he gets here? Because I know a couple, fun places that are in a nice neighborhood where you be close to downtown and blah, blah, blah. So that's something that when you make the decision to pull that trigger, you just call me and say, I have my ticket. I arrive here. By the way, let me tell you where you get your ticket to. This is important because people might make this mistake.
Okay.
You know what airport it's called?
It showed 2 of them on the Google Flights.
Exactly. I'm going to show you the ticket you get. The airport needs to be GRU Airport. And from GRU Airport, you would just they have a dedicated Uber stand. So you would get off the airplane, get on the Wi-Fi there at the airport, and call an Uber at the Uber stand right there. See, they have a dedicated Uber stand right there. And you would grab your Uber, and I'd meet you at wherever you were going to check in or wherever we were going to meet up. You would share the ride. So I know, and it probably takes 45 minutes. Let's call it an hour from the airport to get down.
That's a pretty far ride. Okay.
So GRU Airport is what you need. You know what? The hey, Rudy. To the bone, Rudy. There's something. Let's see. Vaccinations. I believe they want you to have a yellow fever vaccination for Brazil. But I also want to go back.
Up that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that in the embassy. In the U.S. embassy, I didn't see that you had to have it. I didn't see it was mandatory.
The yellow fever? It may not be mandatory, it's just the one. But now here's something else I'm going to tell you about Brazil. I remember when I was thinking, I need to get my shots updated. I looked online for the local Posto de Saúde. It's a health spot. They have them in every area, in every neighborhood. Good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, doesn't matter. You're going to find a postal dispatch. Hold on.
Can you just go and get vaccinations there?
Yeah, I walked in and the lady said, "Oh, if you need to see a doctor or something, here is the, there's the line." And I said, I'm coming for my vaccines." And she was like, "Oh, it's the line over there." And you walk in, and this is how they did it at mine. There were two ladies. One lady was sitting behind a desk with a pencil and a stack of cards and her computer. And the other lady was the nurse standing at the nurse's counter with nothing but boxes of the vaccine and all her needles. And the lady said, "Okay, do you have your old vaccination cards from the States?" "No." "Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to vaccine you. Which ones do you not have? You don't have this. How long have you been in the country?" I was going to sit down. She said, "Oh, no, don't sit down. Here's your card. The nurse will sign off on you." I was in and out in 10 minutes. And here's what's interesting, again, about healthcare on a global scale, and especially in Brazil, because Brazil has a great healthcare system. It taxes the country a lot. I want to be clear, but they're willing to pay that extra bit to make sure people just get healthcare in a lot of situations that Americans don't. It's interesting because my Brazilian friends don't believe that we have billion-dollar hospitals, but everybody can't just go. They're like, "Why don't you come here to go to one of our little average hospitals? You guys have, the greatest hospitals in the world." And it's like, "Yeah, but we can't." Like, what do you mean you can't go to that hospital? Like, we have private hospitals in Brazil. You mean like that? I'm like, no, even an average hospital, you just can't go.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I don't know your feelings on vaccination. That's a personal decision. I can tell you, as somebody who's lived across the world, that the concept of not getting a vaccine is such a first world American problem because nobody alive now knows how important vaccines are. I'm fortunate enough at 43 years old, I had a grade school teacher, one half of his body didn't work. And he talked to us about polio when he was a kid. And that always stuck in my mind. But we don't have that anymore because vaccines. So in Brazil, if you don't have your vaccinations, you can go down to a postal saúde on Saturday morning. They will give you a card, date it. I remember on the street down, remember how I told you Avenida Paulista is the big one? They had a nurse's station on the street with signs like, "If you have not updated your vaccines, come into our nurse's station." They had nurses standing out like what's that restaurant that had the girls with the hula hoops? I don't know. They had it's a restaurant in America, but They were just like, and people would be walking by eating ice cream or talking to kids and go, "Wait a minute, you know what? Shoot, we forgot to get the kids vaccines boosters, didn't we, last year?" Walk on in, it's like a cattle call. Name, identification, nurse goes by, gloves, spray. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not against vaccines. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means, but I'm not about getting vaccines I don't need. Like, obviously tetanus, like you said, yellow fever, chickenpox. Yeah, but I've gotten those a while ago. But I would say, like, some of the newer stuff, I'm more cautious, obviously, because it's new. So
yeah. Sid Osley said it was Hooters. You're right, where they had the girls. I don't know if they do that anymore, but when I was back in the day,
Hooters.
Yeah, at Hooters.
Okay.
Now here's the thing, they have a lot of American chain restaurants here. And when you get here, you're going to make some friends that are Brazilian, and they're going to say, "Oh, let's go out to dinner." And they're going to want to take you to Hooters or to all these American restaurants.
I'll pass.
And you got to explain to them, "I don't want this shit."
Yeah, I've seen it my whole life. I'm good. I'm straight.
You're like, "No, can't we just go? Listen, take me to the restaurant your grandmother goes to, where there's actually a man cooking the steaks."
Yeah. All right. I mean, I think I got all of my stuff answered. I wrote down a lot of stuff: CPF number, airport passport card, weather. I think we talked about that. At this point, it's just I'm trying to see, because of what's going on now, everything will probably change. So it's no telling, but I can tell you that at least maybe outside in America, people are restless, but I know for sure. I read all the articles and in other countries, they're restless because they don't have any food. They don't have any money. A lot of people make their money day to day, and so they can't keep people on lockdown forever. So I'm hoping that this, hopefully people aren't as affected and things can get back to normal. So we'll see.
There are a couple of small things that are small unless they become an issue that I want to run down with you real quick and just write them down. You can dig into them later when you have more time. One, you said you're going to be uploading videos from Brazil. That's great. You won't have any problems at all. What I also want you to do is invest in a good VPN service.
Oh, yeah. I heard people say that, VPN.
Because here's what will happen. You're going to try to log into your American bank account. And your bank's going to go, this is fraud. You're in Brazil.
Yeah, VPN.
Okay. Two, I want you to go to your bank and tell them you're moving abroad. I want you to sit down with a bank manager, have them make notes in your account, ask that manager for their name and phone number, and then go back a week later before you leave to make sure they did it. Because they're going to forget. It's not going to be important to them, but you want to have your bank on record, even though it may not work. You want to, double check that.
Are there any Brazilian banks in the U.S.? Like I was looking at Colombia and BBVAs. Okay.
No, because here's the thing. They're two different banks. In a different country, they're not going to work the same way. What you can do is, do you have a PayPal account?
Yeah.
Do you have a PayPal card?
No. Should I get one?
Call tomorrow, order your PayPal debit card tomorrow, and get it sent to your house. Because you can swipe that card anywhere in the world.
Why would I not be able to swipe my bank card?
You would, but your PayPal card will have fewer fees with it. Okay. And here's the other thing.
No, here's what if I plan to just do cash too? Like just, like, I don't know, I'm basing everything on Colombia because that's where I was initially going. But they say you take out about like $200 for the week and you should be okay for the whole week.
How about this? I'm not you. I don't go anywhere without one of my bank cards with me, just in case.
Okay.
Okay. And I would also rather you have two cards instead of one. So let's say your bank card is no problem at all. I still want you to have a PayPal card at home because you never know. What if it gets stolen? What if it gets defrauded? What if somebody clones it? You need to be able to call your bank and say, deactivate that card and feel good knowing you got a backup.
Now, what about Apple Pay?
I don't understand what you mean.
Apple Pay, do they do that? Like where you put the phone up to the point of sale?
I don't know about Apple Pay, but yes, my card, I can do that. And my phone, I can do that. Google Pay, I've seen people use.
Well, then they probably have Apple Pay. Like if you had an Apple Watch, you can.
Here's the thing. I know that they can do. You can use Google Pay, and I know that bank cards here have the chip inside, so you can do that. I don't know about Apple Pay, so I'm not going to tell you that's true.
Okay.
And he said, okay, we got a quick question. He said, what kind of visa? He's going to come on a tourist visa, and depending on how that first 3 months goes, we may start the paperwork for him to stay longer. But what we're not going to do is have you doing anything illegal or overstays. We're going to do everything ahead of time. That way, that when the government looks over your paperwork and says thumbs up or thumbs down, it's no problem at all. They're going to say, oh, yeah, he did everything by the book, so we can say yes to him.
I'm just going to be doing visa runs. For 5 years.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. What else did I say to you? What I say that I want you to real quick grab and make sure you bring. You have a bank account and a PayPal account. You always want to have two different accounts. If you don't have a Bitcoin account, we can have that conversation as well. But that's just me. Also, freeze your credit. Are you familiar with that as a concept?
Yeah, they have a credit lock where like you can freeze your credit and no one can do anything in your name.
Right, but what you can do with freezing your credit, you can do that online on your own.
Right.
I'm going to put that here. Let's see. For anybody else who wants it, I would say before you leave, the night before you leave, go through and freeze your credit. Why? Because you're a public person. People are going to know you're not home anymore. There are folks that are out there right now waiting for somebody like you to be like, oh, he's not in the country. Let me do some digging on his name, see if I can open up a credit card and how many flat screen TVs I can buy before he catches me.
They're gonna be disappointed.
Well, here's the thing.
They're gonna get a 25-inch TV.
You said a 25-inch TV? Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, that's one of those things you just never know. And I'll tell you something else that I learned from a friend who's a skip tracer. Did you know the person who steals their identity and uses your card, it's most likely not going to be a stranger?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
That's why the people that break in your house when you go away is people that know you, because they know you're gone.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be a relative. Most likely. She said, statistically, it's going to be a relative.
Oh, I heard Charles Schwab, and you can Google why Schwab debit. Well, see, I have USAA, so they give me the same amount. They give me the same thing for fees, for ATM fees, up to like $35 or $40. But I know Charles Schwab has like free international fees too. So unless there's some other reason that I don't know about, well, I'll look into it.
What I'll also show you then is talking about credit stuff. I don't know if this is relevant to you, but I also put a link in the comments. Feel free to look at this on your own. I did something called Credit Killer Quarantine on my Patreon with my buddy RJ Rochelle, who's a CPP and an MSA. He does credit repair and things of that nature, and he talked heavily about how to not get into credit problems and how to fix credit problems. And we talked to a lot of my private Patreon people came in on that, and that was informative. That was informative. What else would I say that you would definitely want to do before you? Oh, you know what? Before you leave, give a friend $50 in cash, maybe even 100. And what you say to them is, listen, at some point, I might have a package come to the United States that I might need you to send me. I don't want you to come out of your wallet for that one. Here's $50 for you to send it to me. Okay.
Do they use Cash App down there? Because I don't know if Cash App changes currency rates. Like if I Cash Apped you $50, would it change into real? Or would you have to just take the dollars and then change it yourself? Like,
well, I don't
Cash App me 100 real or something.
I don't know what the Cash App does. I don't use it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's real good. Especially like online business, you can use Cash App. People just pay you that way, and the fees are very small. So
that's the thing. I mean, I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know.
Somebody says the Sao Paulo have stratas like Medellin. Do they have stratas down there?
I don't know what a strata is.
That's like the level of, so the strata, like a strata 1 would be like the poorest neighborhood, and then the strata 6 would be like, you know, El Poblado, Laureles, like the best or the best highest quality. And what that means is that in certain stratas, the lower you are, the less you pay for utilities. The higher you are, the more you'll pay. So if you're in strata 6, you can use the same amount of energy as someone in strata 1, but you would pay much more money than them because you're in that strata.
Okay. Here's the thing.
They probably don't. They probably don't. Because a favela would be equivalent of a strata 1.
Here's the thing. I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to say something. One, I don't know if that's true here, but the reality is, if you're coming here as a foreigner living here, the reality is you're never going to fall outside of. If you were to fall outside of strata, whatever the top one is, you have seriously fucked your life up somehow. This is something that a friend of mine showed me. He said it was true in 2013. It's true again now. Now let's look at this. That means half Brazilians live on less than $400 a month. The top 10%.
Oh yeah, you did something wrong.
Yeah, If you're making 7,000 real per month, you're in the top 10%. So let's just do a quick math. 7,000 BRL to USD. That means to live in the top 10% of income earners in Brazil, you've got to make 1,264 US dollars a month.
Wow.
So if we take, if we just take, and do rough math and make it 1,200 and then divide that by 4 weeks. Well, I mean, if you have somebody who's an American talking US dollars, if you're making in US dollars, what is that, 300 a week? If you're making $300 a week, you're in the top 10% of earners. And when I say top 10%, that's not a
YouTube channel.
You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. Now, the thing that makes Brazil a standout, and I'm not throwing any shade against countries like Thailand where I have lived or the Dominican Republic where I have not lived, the quality of life in Brazil is high.
Yeah, that's the big one. Because you can live cheap in Indonesia, but where are you going to be? Like, how are you going to get running water? Not down in Indonesia, but I'm saying, like, some of these countries like Cambodia is like, yeah, you can live cheap, but you're going to be struggling. Whereas like Medellin or Sao Paulo, you can live cheap, but you can be comfortable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, by the way, Uncle Bruni, he asked a quick question. He said, how could he get a SIM card before he gets here? That's not going to happen. When he gets off the airplane, he would get one. Yeah, nah. And LK said, so you know what apartment to hunt in? I can rattle off a couple of area names, Bella Vista, República, any place within, let's say, any place within 10, 20 miles of Avenida Paulista, great places to be. But going back up here, you're not going to get a SIM card before you get off. As a matter of fact, when you get off the airplane, there are people at SIM card booths who want you to buy a SIM card from them because they want to catch people as soon as they get off the plane for $10 saying, hey, use our company, because they need that. What you find is that most people in social circles use the same companies because different companies have different benefits and you can call your friends for free. But the reality is,
how would it work with the iPhone?
You would just get a card. Does the iPhone accept a SIM card?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's it. You just get a SIM card and put it in. But it goes back to that first thing we talked about. You have to be able to
register
activate it.
Okay. All right. Well, I gotta get ready to edit some more videos, but thank you for taking this time out. I'll be linking up with you. Again, we'll be talking, and I'll let you know where I make my final decision. But hopefully, this has been able to help other people who might be curious, as have questions and stuff like that. Might be thinking of leaving the Matrix, So
yeah, we'll have to have a discussion maybe on my Patreon about exactly what is the Matrix. And I'll leave you with one important thing and one not important thing. But the important thing is, it's easy to get caught up in an ego. In times like these, especially when we don't have access to the things that we did before, for things that are not outside of our control, we have to find ways. Like if you say to yourself, I am a weightlifter, you got to find a way to still exercise. You can't say just because the gym is closed. And it might be the hard way, because for people who don't know, I was talking to him last night on his earpiece, and he was doing laps around the park. Can't get to the treadmill. You got to go outside and fight geese that are trying to eat you.
Yeah.
Are you growing your afro out?
I don't got no choice, but yeah, I am. Oh, last thing, barbershops. Do they do like a I'm growing my hair out. Do they do like barbershops? Like, do they have like where you can get like American style fades, like black? How black people get fade cuts and stuff like that. They got that there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Hold on, I'll show you. I'll tell you exactly where I'm gonna take you. Hold on, I'll take you. There's a place called Galeria do Rock, it's the Gallery of Rock, meaning you can get everything from rock and roll T-shirts. You can get tattoos. You can get tattoo equipment. You can get whatever you want. You can get shoes downstairs. They have a hair salon for women. You can get your fade done. and I'll take you here.
That's nice.
I'll take you there. So it's a good spot.
That place looks nice.
Yeah, I have to take you there. We'll go hang out. But you said no choice. Let me tell you something, man. Talking about what you don't have, I had to figure out how to line up my mustache with Magic Shave.
Yeah. I don't have clippers and no barbershops open, so I'm gonna just let it rock. And when I can get back, I'll be able to get it faded and everything.
You know, I shaved my head when I was 14, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't grow full beard, so I'm gonna at least keep the hair.
Well, you know, hey, you know, your style is your style, but I'm saying, you know, here's the thing, right? Try cutting it yourself. The worst that's going to happen is you just have to shave it off. It's not.
I already did that. All right, it's a mess. I can wait. I'm fine. Somebody before I go, somebody in the comments said, when do they expect the U.S. to open? I mean, Sao Paulo to open, and someone says 10th of May. So
is that the comment? It said when I said quarantine in May 10th.
That's right around the corner. And I know Brazil has the highest cases in Latin America or in South America, so that's interesting.
Quarantine in Sao Paulo, Brazil,
but
and
if they're in quarantine, they still might not allow international travel. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, I mean, you're right. We got to figure it out. I would say we got to stay on the news because here's what's going to happen. By the way, when she said ES, it's a state called Espírito Santos. She lives in a different state. You would definitely need to keep your hand on the trigger because when they open those international flights again,
yeah,
you want to go as soon as possible because there's going to be a gate. I believe this is my own thought process. There's going to be a gate between the time gates open again for international travel to back and forth from Brazil and the time they change the restrictions and change what you can and can't have.
Exactly.
A lot of people, if you're serious, you're going to need to move in between that because we don't know if they say later, we changed our mind, we want you to have this and this before you come.
Right.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
I'd rather be here. All right, I'm gonna do some more research after I edit these videos. I just batch recorded like 7 videos before this interview. But I appreciate you for taking the time out. We're definitely going to talk tomorrow. And, you know, if this is the place, then I look forward to it, meeting some Brazilians, you know.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna hang up here. I will say to you, let me see. There we go. It's called Post Avenue. Okay. I want to say to everybody, thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this because that's critically important. The subscribe part, you know, this channel does 3 different things. We talk about a lot of international things, not just Brazil. We also talk a lot about money, investment, staying away from debt. And I think most of all, we talk about social issues. I have a lot of friends that come by for these conversations. Make sure you check out all his social media that I shared. It's also in the comments. Love you all, and I hope everybody has a great night. You got any last words for him?
Just, you know, if you're quarantined, just try to hold on, and hopefully you're not struggling like some of the people really are struggling, like with no food and stuff. So, like I said, in America, we're just inconvenienced. In other countries, they literally are struggling. So, you know, it's just an unfortunate thing that happened, but I think things will be back to somewhat normal, at least in the next 3 to 4 months. So we'll see.
All right, everybody.